Anyway, welcome to episode 6 of the Hornography Podcast. My name is Andrew. Sitting with me is Brendan, the vocalist of All This Filth and also co-promoter here at Hornography.
Hello.
And together we are the showrunners of the Hornography Perth Metal Club, a monthly event that happens every last weekend of the month right here in Perth, Western Australia. It's been going on since 2018 and obviously started by two legends in the business, Dicey and Cabba.
Legends.
Glenn Dyson and Brendan Capriotti. Yeah, that's right.
Dicey and Cabba. I don't think anyone ever calls them.
No, never.
I've never called Dicey Glenn.
I wonder if they introduced themselves as that, or do they just sort of?
Only when Facebook came around did I be like, his name is Glenn.
Well, people do know each other a lot of times through Facebook names, which is like the nicknames.
And actually,
or whatever
on Facebook, his name is Dicey, anyways.
Exactly.
Dicey Dyson. So.
It's like a photographer, Stephanie, but she goes by the name Misty, and a lot of people know her as Misty, but they don't realise that's not her.
Well, I knew her as Steph years ago.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
Anyway, so this month we are teaming up with Club Confession, your bandmate, Benny Bones.
Yeah, Benny Bones, bassist, keyboardist, MacGyver of extraordinaire of All This Filth.
Yes.
Runs a sort of like vaguely vampire-themed goth club night.
It reminds me of like the old Sin nightclubs, if you remember back. In the day.
A little bit like Sin. Yeah, lots of goth, industrial, EBM, that sort of stuff.
Which is obviously his vibe, his whole kind of thing. So
that is his vibe. I mean, obviously there's a bit of metal as well, so they have metal nights, and we've done collaborations with them. That
was one of the most fun nights I've ever had. Actually, that was really
DJing,
fun.
By the way, get into it. It's
underrated.
Pretty easy. Like it's very,
especially when you get to pick and choose whatever songs you want to play.
It's actually a bit of fun too. I mean, anyone can do it. But yeah, so we DJ'd at Club Confessions last year, and they did an event at Hornography, and this year it's coming around.
I think it was about the same time as last year as well.
Yeah. I think it was June last year.
Yeah. But this year we're doing it again. Obviously with Sarah as well, so it's not just Benny and Sarah together run the Club Confession. That's at the was it the 60 Cats in St George's Terrace?
St George's Terrace, right across the road from London Court for any of the Perth natives. And
they run that every couple of times a year, I guess, like 3 or 4 times a month.
Almost bi-monthly, like every second month.
Something like that. So on the show this month, we've got Iniquitous Monolith featuring our featured guest this month, Brendan Nock, the drummer. Legend in the business and a fantastic drummer as well.
Fantastic guy.
Fantastic. One of the nicest people I've ever met as well.
Yeah, well, people often comment that, like, people who don't like metal, like, say, go to my birthday party or whatever, and I've got friends who don't like metal, and they meet, say, Brendan Nock, and he is one of the most friendly guys you ever meet, and he's in one of the most brutally technical, brutal death metal bands you could ever hear, and I'm like, this is the music he makes, which sounds, but he's one of the nicest guys, and that's metalheads in general.
That's true.
Relatively nice people.
We are a very, I don't know, misdiagnosed or whatever you want to call it, bunch of people. I guess.
Don't judge a book by its cover is basically the moral of this story.
Yeah. So them, Iniquitous Monolith, and Lamentia, who they actually did a show last year, actually, the Confession show last year. So sort of a bit of a doomy kind of almost black metal-y sort of band, I guess.
Yeah, shout out to Suggy.
Yep, and all those guys. Secular coming in for another round of Hornography, and a new band we've never had on before. I don't know how to pronounce it properly. I think it's like Tuflundren or something.
Tuffle100?
Something like that. I guess we'll get a bit more.
They're a black metal band. I know Joel, the drummer.
Right.
But I think it's Tuffle100.
Yeah.
Like, we'll have to get them to explain it.
Yeah, definitely. They're a new band. They haven't been around for too long, obviously. So, and we always like to kind of have new bands coming on to Hornography for the first time as well. So
open up the show, make your bones.
Yeah, exactly. So, it should be a good show. Good night. Saturday, June 27th at the Milk Bar. And, should be another great night. And obviously, DJing for the night will be Benny and Sarah. Yep. So they'll be playing a lot of heavy industrial
metal and stuff,
so we'll see how we go. As I said, the guest today will be Brendan Nock. He'll be coming in very shortly. But our previous show, we got to mention Friday Fright Night with Dark Hera, Hidden Face, Vile Mutilation, Tears of Venom. What were your thoughts?
The music was good. The turnout is probably the lowest turnout we've had.
Yeah.
Like, and that being said, it still wasn't that low considering some gigs, you know.
Oh, yeah, we
where you're
still
up
do
to
pretty well as far as the average, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. Our average, you know, we're averaging anywhere between 88 to 120 or whatever.
Yeah.
Some usually around about 100 a month. But that being said, that there is a lot of gigs that were on last weekend on the same night. A lot of competing gigs, and a lot of competing gigs coming up in June as well, both international and local gigs.
Well,
so.
the one that we were up against the most was Dethfest, obviously.
Last Sunday.
But intentionally, we went for a different kind of stylistic lineup because of to get away from that. But I guess it wasn't really enough for people to kind of like. No, everyone just wanted to go to Deathfest on Sunday, which is only 2 days after. So I didn't go to that, unfortunately, but you did.
Yeah, I did, but there was also a gig on the same night as well at that seasonal brewing.
Oh, right.
You know, we are trying to work with other promoters, but you know, sometimes
things happen.
Yeah. But
look, my argument was on the night. Look, we can't win them all. We have some good nights for the whole year so far.
Mostly, yeah.
But you can't win them all.
Well,
Like, you've got to have
the last 2 years I've been involved, it's been good.
Yeah,
good
especially
turnout.
this year though. We've really stepped it up this year and had some great numbers. So, but you can't. It's very hard to make it consistent every single month. You know what I mean? So if we have a low turnout one night, well, so be it. You know, we cop it and we move on to the next show.
And to be fair, we still do better than most local gigs.
We do all right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I went to Perth Dethfest. That was absolutely jammed, packed out at the Rosemount.
Was it sold
Hotel.
out?
I don't know if it was sold out, but it would have been close.
It was pretty close. I know they was saying they were like close to sold out, like on the day or something.
Well,
so.
yeah, the couple of days before, I think they only had less than 100 tickets.
So
left.
it probably would have been gone by the end of the day, I guess. So
It's it was jammed. Like there was a lot of bands as well. Obviously, it ran from about 3 in the afternoon.
Long day. Were you there for the whole day? Or?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't get there at 3. I'd had a pretty big night the night before watching my team Arsenal in the Champions League. Unfortunately. Not getting the job done. But hey, shout out to all the Arsenal fans. We won the league 22 years. But yeah, so I got there a couple hours after 3, so I would say about 5 or 6.
All right, so you were there for a substantial
Oh yeah,
amount
I was
of
there
time.
for most of the day. Yeah. So
and 2 stages or 3 stages?
2. So
2
they had
stages.
the main room at the Rosemount Hotel and the 459 bar.
Ah, right.
The problem was that they were like the stages sort of ran one at a time, which is a good thing, so you don't have to miss. But the problem with that was that once the gig finished in the main room, which is huge at the Rosemount, everybody went across to the 459 bar. And if you've seen the 459 bar, it's not much
Tiny
bigger than this
little place.
room. It's tiny. It looks like a storage room. And so I didn't get in there all night because, like, where the entry is, like, you know, there's a couple stairs down and there was people lined out trying to look in.
Yeah.
And it was so crammed that I was like...
Guess it's a good problem to have, though. I mean, obviously, everyone was very keen to see what was going on in that room.
Yeah,
so.
such a small room, though. I don't think they sort of...
Because the only other way that I've seen it happen is like, where the merch area normally is at the back.
That's what they should have done.
Yeah.
2 stages there, and maybe 3 stages. 1 stage there, 1 stage there, and then the merch stand up towards the other end where the main stage is, to the left of the stage.
Yeah.
You know, sort of between the sound desk and the stage.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, and if they'd had that and sort of run it, then there would have been a bit more. But like whatever, it was still like no one was complaining. It was still a good
day. That was the same day with all that weather that was going on.
Yeah, and
right?
that was the other thing, that it was unseasonably stormy for Perth.
I remember I was at home and I was working on like some hornography stuff and all that, and I was just looking outside the window going, yeah, good luck, guys.
Well, I mean, that was the day, like, you know, they say in Perth, like, anytime it rains a little bit, that keeps audiences away, and usually that's true. The only thing I could think of was that it was a public holiday on the Monday, so people were out to party. It was a Sunday, nothing else was on, but people probably pre-bought their tickets as well.
That's it.
Because it is a bit more...
Which is a good thing. It's good that people
always pre-buy your tickets.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that helps promoters out.
So obviously no one kind of foresaw what the weather was going to be like on that day. So,
but yeah, I mean, the weather was... I mean, there was storms. People's fences went down and trees were coming down.
So I'm guessing the beer garden out in the Rosemount was just sort of empty for most of the night.
No, well, because they got coverage over the beer garden. Okay. So like, yeah, the beer garden was actually pretty packed as well. Like the whole place was
So the
packed.
weather didn't sort of get in there as well, though, like, you know, because it's sort of open, you know. It is
open-ish, but the covers kept most of it out.
Okay, well, that's all right then.
You get a little bit of a dribble depending on where you stand, but like you know, and they had umbrellas in the upper beer garden area sort of thing towards the entrance. But
all right, so overall though, it was a good night, and Yeah.
It was great bands. Exhumed headlined, obviously.
Yep. What were they like?
Yeah, I mean, like solid. Like there were the thing about it was there's like all the death metal bands because it was mostly death metal bands. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was like Neo Mantra and Twin Serpents and such, more sort of doomy death sort of.
Yep.
But after like a couple bands, it sort of it all.
I mean, Deathfest, I guess that's what it is.
It does what it says on the tin. It was
Yeah.
all death metal, and we're talking old school death metal or tech death metal.
Yeah.
Exhumed were good.
Cool.
Ashen, solid as well. Iniquitous Monolith played.
That's right. We'll get to find out
to
more
talk.
about that.
We'll talk to. I tried to get in. They were in the 459 bar. I could not. I stood outside, listened to them for a bit, and then just went and got a drink because.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing. That's where the merch was actually, out in that little midsection between the two bars.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. That's a good place.
Yeah,
place
which
to
is
have
good
it.
for a festival, but you wouldn't want to do that if you only had bands in there.
It's a shame that they couldn't sort of move a stage out to the beer garden area, like, and have that. As
you wouldn't have been able to do that on that day because
not on that day, no. But it's a shame that space couldn't be used for that kind of thing.
I would say there'd be noise restrictions as well.
Yeah,
I reckon, like you said, they should have put the second stage at the back of the main room.
Yeah.
Like they did for, what was it, Disorder Festival?
Yep. They've done it for a bunch of stuff in the past.
And that works well. So maybe, I'm not criticizing, by the way, the organization because it was actually really well organized. There was nothing to complain about. It was just really hard to get into the 459.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Hopefully, because it is the inaugural event, so hopefully it'll come back next year.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, the turnout
was great.
Would suggest that it would.
Yeah.
Because it was the inaugural one. They run it in Melbourne and Sydney
and all that. I think it started in Melbourne initially, and then it kind of started spreading out. So
yeah, I think someone was telling me there that they were actually flying to Sydney for the Sydney one as well. So I was like, yeah, cool.
Right.
And I was there sort of at the end of the show doing a bit of promo work on behalf of Soundworks Touring. Shout out to Dicey and Brad and the crew.
All right.
So just sort of moonlighting as I do. But I mean, it was a good night. Thanks to everyone involved and everyone who hooked me up and stuff. And yeah, it was good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Speaking of Soundworks, the other show that we both went to see was obviously Fear Factory in the middle of May. It was a fantastic show.
Fantastic.
Fantastic night. Banter with the opening band.
Yep.
So congratulations to those guys. And the crowd seemed to enjoy what they were doing. So it was an all right night.
Yep.
What did you think of the overall performance by Fear Factory with the new singer and all that? I know we'd seen them before with the new singer, but
the last time Fear Factory here, they opened for Machine Head, and obviously we opened for them.
That's right, yeah.
And it was the first time with Milo here, and everybody said to me, and I agree that if you close your eyes, it almost sounds like Burton.
It does
and
sound
Milo,
like
from a distance, kind of looks like a young Burton as well. He's a great singer. The only thing I could there's nothing wrong with his vocals. He can do the bits. He's a good singer. He's, to me, the soul. Burton was the soul of Fear Factory.
It's big shoes to fill.
It is massive.
Yeah.
That's my only criticism. Technically proficient, great singer.
Yeah.
Just sort of misses the soul.
Yeah.
I miss Burton. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well,
like I
soul
said,
of
I
a
saw
new
Burton
machine,
C. Bell's solo band last year.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best shows I've seen in years.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this show was still great. They played some. They played ended
some
with
deep cuts.
Final Exit.
Yeah, I know. That was great.
I've never seen him play that. That was killer.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it was really good. And obviously, I was actually working the merch for Soundworks that night, helping out on the merch stand. But luckily, the two crew on the merch covered my shift while Fear Factory was on, so I could go watch them.
Most people would have been watching Fear Factory anyway, I guess.
That was the only time of the night the merch stand died down. Oh my god, it was so packed. We had a line outside the venue.
I lined up for a shirt because I had to get a shirt, and we were out the door. It was out the door.
Out the door, yes. So people were lining up to get into the venue, then lining up at the merch stand, and then it snaked outside the venue again.
Yeah, I know.
It was out the door. The line for the merch stand was out the door.
It wasn't too bad.
And it's not because the merch, by the way. The merch was run really well by
Breno.
Breno.
Just a lot of people there.
Shout out to Breno and Shiv on merch. We worked really well together and really nice people. And it was efficient. It was just there was three of us, and there was pretty much everyone there. I reckon I met every single person in that place because everyone bought merch.
Like I said, the line moved pretty quickly. So even though it was long, it moved efficiently.
We were tag teaming. It was good work. And it was a good vibe too. It wasn't. was a really good vibe. Everyone I met was really friendly and cordial, and yeah.
Yeah, ran into a bunch of the regulars, from the metal crew and all that. And but yeah, I was obviously there to see Fear Factory for the 100th time. I don't know how many times I've seen them now over the years.
Same.
And they were on point. They played some great tracks, all the hits, obviously.
They had the same lineup as last time, except for Tony Campos wasn't there.
So who was that bass player?
I forget. They did say his name.
Someone said his name was Tony as well.
Possibly. I can't remember his name. He was slightly a little taller than Tony Campos.
And
I remember just thinking, who is that guy? But Pete the Feet Weber was still there on the drums.
Now I have to say this because I knew him from a band called Havoc, and I was really like super stoked that he joined Fear Factory. But if you check out the stuff that he did with Havoc, that guy, it makes sense that he's in Fear Factory because he's such a solid drummer. And I reckon he's one of the best drummers that Fear Factory ever had so far. Now, I know one of the best. I didn't say the best. I said one of the best.
Let's get into it then. Let's.
Gene Hoglan's probably the best drummer out of all of them.
I don't know. I'm partial to the Executioner Raymond Herrera.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. Gene Hoglan is known.
The Atomic Clock.
The Atomic Clock. Yeah, worldwide, one of the best metal drummers in the world. Facts. He's great. Not gonna, but just the Executioner. Think about the albums they did.
I know.
With that lineup.
I know. But then it did Transgression. So
Yeah, but
it's like that was. I think that was his last album with them, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was most of their last album with it. Because after that, then it was just Burton and then Dino'd come back. No, but don't get me wrong. With that lineup, they also did Archetype, and Archetype was dope.
True, that's very true. Yeah, people forget about that album as well.
Yeah,
actually.
and
I'm surprised that they play the title. Dino plays the title track, knowing full well that the lyrics, I'm sure you know,
are a reference to, the infection has been removed, the soul of this machine is improved.
I know. So it's surprising that he wants to play that song, but it's a good song though.
He said in interviews that he just wants to please the fans. Because at the end of the day, the fans are coming to see your band, and if they really love a song,
I guess so. I wouldn't even consider that to be the best song on that album, though. To be honest,
it's one of the catchier ones. It's got the big chorus.
It's the most melodic one for sure.
Yeah, it's got a big chorus. Look, at the end of the day, props to him for playing that song.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
props to him. Because if I left ATF and then came back and they'd written a song about me,
you wouldn't want to play that
There's
song.
There's no way in the world I would play that song. I'd be like, nope, that's out of the set list.
Exactly.
Back to the classics. So.
But there you go. There's Fear Factory. For they're working on a new album, so I guess they'll be back pretty soon. I guess.
Hopefully, and I'm just really stoked that they were brought out by Soundworks Touring because, as you know, Soundworks tends to stick to a lot of the really, really extreme and heavier stuff, more underground stuff, and they've since doing Froth and Fury have sort of branched out into some different subgenres of the metal, and I spoke to Dicey about it. Apparently, the whole tour sold really well and was really successful. Yeah. So
that was a good crowd there even for the Perth
and
show
just
as
looking
well.
at all the shows, looking on social media, all the shows were packed out for Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, or Auckland, I think it was.
I mean, Perth was probably one of the smaller ones, which is how it always is, So, yeah, of course.
It was still packed. I mean, Metro Frio isn't a small venue either, so
no.
That's a pretty big venue. So if you're packing that out, just really, it was one band and then a local band at each place. It wasn't like a double header. At the Astor Theatre, Machine Head.
No. I mean, it's their tour, I guess. So they wanted to sort of just be about Fear Factory, and
No, I mean, the crowd, you can't fault it. Hopefully they come back.
Yeah. They will. They've got a long history with Australia, as we know.
And that's what we really appreciate is bands coming, especially to Australia firstly, and then secondly to Perth, which is like I've said. I think I might have mentioned it on this show. Australia to tour the East Coast is X. And then to come from Adelaide to Perth is X times 2.
Yeah.
So it's very expensive to come to Perth for very little reward. Usually you lose money on it, just facts. But, a band like Fear Factory might break even or make money.
Yeah.
They made a lot of money in merch, I tell you that much. Jesus.
It'd be interesting to see how much they actually make from that. But anyway, there we go. Let's move on to that because we are running quickly out of time. I guess we'll go into some of the gigs that are coming up.
Let me put on my glasses.
We won't go into detail into all of them, but certainly the ones that are coming up very soon, including Guerrilla, which we gave a double pass away at the last show.
Yep.
with Patient 67 and Alosa, who have been named as support acts for that one.
July 7th, that's coming up at Amplifier. There's heaps. There's Cradle of Filth, Devil Driver, Astor Theatre, July 16th.
Now, I'm going to quickly mention, did you hear the new Devil Driver track? Dead in the Water.
Yes.
What did you think? I thought it was old school Devil Driver.
Yeah, I like it. It's so, Devil Driver 101.
Yep.
Sounds like Devil Driver. But I even like the first one that came out.
I like the first one as well.
What was that one called?
Not the title track, was it?
No.
Strike and Kill?
No.
I forget the
can't
name
remember.
of it.
But either way, it was...
But the second one's even better, I reckon. Even better. Like, so good. And Dez sounds so...
Dez is solid. He's never not sounded solid on a Devil Driver.
It's just that the
album.
last couple of albums will just,
Chamber
like Dealing with Demons just didn't kind of attract me too much, you know?
I think what it was with Dealing with Demons is, remember, they recorded that as a double album.
Yeah.
So sometimes you might spread yourself thin by recording 20 songs instead of just...
I kind of feel like that was more Dez getting stuff out. It was more of a lyrical thing than anything else, you know?
Look, I actually liked it. Like, I didn't hate it. But, like, see, Devil Driver does what Devil Driver does. It's like every time a Devil Driver album comes out, you kind of know what to expect.
Yeah, true.
And that's not a slur. Like, there's a lot of bands like that. Your Slayers, your Hatebreeds, your Lamb of Gods. And
the changes are subtle, I guess, because like there's a big difference between the earlier albums and the later ones for sure. I reckon,
Definitely. But since, say... in my opinion anyways, you could debate this, but since, say, maybe Pray for Villains...
Or Beast. I reckon Beast was the turning
Oh,
point.
yeah. Then it's all been a bit... a bit samey, but
and
I know
that probably was because of the change in lineups and stuff, I guess. That sort of contributed
that's bound
to
to
that,
happen,
you know?
but...
all I know is that this new album, this new song, just blew me away. It was so good.
I'm looking forward to the new album.
Yeah.
But I'm more than so. I'm looking forward to this because Cradle of Filth and Devil Driver.
Should be a good show.
Yeah, I'm not a massive Cradle of Filth fan, but I went and saw them last time they were here in November, not last year, before. Fantastic show.
Yeah.
Massive, fantastic show. I know all the hits. They played all the hits, so I could sing along to all the words. And it was fantastic. You cannot fault them. So this is going to be a good show. So
I've seen them a couple of times before in previous tours, and they're a good live band. They know how to put on a good show.
You don't last 20, 30 odd years in the industry without being good at what you do.
True. Yeah.
You know, step one, play good
I do
shows.
think some of their later albums were pretty like, all right, I loved Hammer of the Witches, which is like about probably 10 years ago now, but it's not considered one of the sort of prime Cradle of Filth albums. I reckon it's a fantastic album. It's certainly better than some of the other stuff that people kind of rave on about, you know?
Yeah, I think good bands can deliver good albums at any stage in their career.
Yeah.
Like, I really love it when a band 20, 30, 40 years into their career will drop an album that old school fans, new fans can be like, wow, they still got it. Like, I remember when Madball did that with... I mean, I know it's hardcore, not so much metal, but they did that with Hardcore Lives. They came out in 2014, and that band been around since the 80s, you know what I mean? 90s. And it just, like, so we're 20, 30 years in, and, like, fuck me, I was like, that is killer. One of my favorite Madball albums. Like, you know, you got the classics, Set It Off, etc. But this, and that happens. Like, you know, Chimera did the same thing. So many bands. Fear Factory still delivering goods. So
it's great to see. Like, obviously, we want to support like newer bands coming out, but it's great to see the older bands still doing what they do. You know.
Yeah. It's because a lot of people, you know, when they get into metal, get into it in their teenage years and stuff, and some people life takes them off in different directions.
Yeah.
And I talk to people out in the street sometimes. So I'll be wearing a Fear Factory shirt, for example, and they'll be like, "Oh man, I used to love that album, Demanufacture or whatever." And I'm like, did you go to the last gig, which was like a month or so ago or whatever? And they're like, I didn't even know they were still around. I'm like, Jesus, man, haven't you got the internet? Like, come on.
I know. Yeah.
So I mean, the algorithms, man, obviously that's a thing. So people don't see. So make sure you stay up to date.
Yeah. All right. So quickly, Carnival playing July 18th with Tesseract and Car Bomb at the Ice Cream Factory. Do you know where this venue is?
The Ice Cream Factory. I think it's in Northbridge.
Where?
Okay, so you know the same street as it's sort of a pop-up thing they do every year, and it's on the same street as Metro's City, Rose Street.
Oh, okay, right.
Just sort of more towards the Perth side, if you get me.
Right. What was there before then? What was?
Nothing. It's like I only know because I've walked past it. Sort of. On the same, like, the intersection would be Row and the same street that Shebeen is on, the Irish pub.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's on Row Street.
Right, okay.
It's a pop-up thing that you'll see a bunch of sea containers there, and...
Right, okay. All right, must be a decent venue because Carnival are playing there, so...
Yeah, that'll be cool. Carnival, Tesseract, Carlum,
July 30th, Wage War at Freo Social. That was announced fairly recently.
Psychroptic and Rivers and Neil in Magnet House,
yes.
August 13th.
That's Destroy Alliance. I thought that was going to be Soundworks, but it turns out to be Destroy Alliance. So
Skindred at Magnet House, September 1st. Carcass and Brujeria at Magnet House,
That's
September
Soundworks.
22nd. That Soundworks.
Yep, that'd be a good show.
That'll be good. I'm looking forward to that, actually. And September 26th, really looking forward to seeing Health and Perturbator at Metro's Freo. I saw Health last time they were here.
Yes.
If you like your industrial metal, that's the jam. Even if you get into they got a bit of a, like, if Deftones were kind of industrial, if you get me, just go check it out. It's quite cool. Lamb of God, Trivium, Bleed From Within, October 2nd. Perth, HPC.
HPC. This is where the Froth and Fury Festival was held as well.
Massive. So that'll be good. Get your tickets.
Cool.
If I could afford it, I have them right now. October 11th, Catatonia, Magnet House. November 1st, Vaegon from Canada, Tech Death Band.
So we're involved in that. So we're actually, my sort of other thing with, apart from Hornography, is Crunch Entertainment. So, but we got Hornography involved in it. They're doing a whole tour around Australia and they're ending the tour in Perth. So we got involved in it. So, should be interesting. It's a Sunday, so we're going to make it an earlier show.
Yep.
And we're going to have a
show. Love it.
Yeah, a Sunday show. I mean, why not? You know, it's not like you're working on that day unless you're a weekend work or whatever. But just any band who's local anywhere. That's what we support as well. You know?
Props to them. Because obviously they're not the biggest name going
No,
around.
they're not a well-known band at all.
They are making the effort to come here, so I would support them. Go check them out. And all I can say is there's a bunch of stuff I can't announce to do with that gig yet, but stay tuned. There is big announcements to do with that gig Australia-wide.
All right, there we go.
Out there.
And the last one, November 14th, only a couple of weeks away after that, Killswitch Engage and Silosis.
Both fantastic live bands. I saw Silosis last time they were here, and Killswitch when they opened for Iron Maiden, and pretty much Killswitch anytime they come.
I saw Killswitch the last time they headlined, which was a while ago now, I think.
I love Killswitch. I'm a big Killswitch fan. But to be honest, most times I've seen them, I've been slightly let down. But when they opened for Iron Maiden, holy shit, man, that was phenomenal.
Well, they got a lot more to prove, I guess, because they're playing in front of a different sort of audience, I
guess.
So,
true. Yeah. But, great band, so get on out and support that. And Silosis were excellent live, too, and their last two albums have been solid.
Cool.
And same with Killswitch. Haven't really done.
All right, so there's a lot to be happening for the second half of the year.
Yeah, and that's, check out, there's other gigs going on that we just haven't mentioned here because time, basically.
Yeah. So. All right, so let's bring in Brendan Nock from Iniquitous Monolith. He'll be playing the next Hornography show on June 27th at the Milk Bar.
Yep.
So let's bring him in.
Yep, let's go get him. And we're back. This is Hornography Podcast, episode, 6?
Yep.
Episode 6. So what are we, May? No, June.
June.
June 2026. The year is flying. And right now we have a very special guest. It's my good friend. I've known this guy for years. And he's one of Perth's best drummers. Probably one of Australia's actually best drummers. Maybe worldwide, we don't know.
And also, we mentioned as well, one of the nicest people as well.
And one of the nicest people you ever likely to meet. It's Brendan Nock, my co-president of the Brendan's Club.
Two Brendans here.
We formed the Brendan's Club.
We should call this podcast the Brendan Podcast.
We actually genuinely have formed the Brendan's Club.
Yes.
We talk about it.
How many other Brendans are there in the metal scene?
Well, there was 3 at my birthday party.
Right.
With DANs as well.
Yeah. So rare.
Yeah, so rare. There's a lot of DONs. You meet a DN and you're like, what are you doing?
Never heard of a DON before.
What?
No,
They're more DONs than DANs.
Really?
Yep. But you get D. I met a DIN, and I was like, what's wrong with
that's
parents?
a bit different.
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah.
But but anyways, President
Iniquitous Monolith.
Oh yeah,
I actually remember you. I remember you when you were in another band.
Nails of Imposition.
That's the one. I remember we were trying to book your gigs for stuff in the past, and that band kind of just sort of disappeared or something. I guess it sort of broke up or whatever. Or
yeah, look, it's a bit funny with Nails. It kind of just we've never officially called it, but it kind of there were some situational changes, like work changes with Chris. guitarist. He started doing FIFO.
Yep.
Which is very common in WA.
Yeah.
I don't know of anyone in a band that doesn't have at least one FIFO. Genuinely.
That's the reason why we can't book bands, because everyone's out flying
I
somewhere.
have 3 in ATF doing FIFO right now. Nightmare.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Yeah, and so it ended up being a case of we were trying to make it work, but as you can appreciate, it got quite difficult, not only trying to jam, but then trying to accept gigs that were offered as well. And so the band was just kind of stagnating a little bit, I guess. And then we just kind of put it on hold. And then a little while after then, Chris and I were in talks because we had some new stuff that was sitting there to work on. And then we talked about, hey, look, maybe we just start jamming again, and we'll just see where this goes. And then Chris and his lovely partner Christy fell pregnant, and so Chris said, hey, look, I'm just not going to be able to do this anytime soon. So essentially, that's what's happened with Nails of Imposition. So it's just kind of
plus, a lot of the guys went off in different directions with different projects. Like
Jared's in a million bands. Because he's great.
Good friend of mine, Jared. Shout out Jared Thornton, man. Jared, I'm the guy that introduced you to Jared.
Man. Yeah.
Because not many people know this, but I actually jammed with Nails of Imposition back in the day. To be their vocalist.
Really early on.
Early on. And it was a great vibe, great dudes. And I
awesome.
just was like, this isn't really my jam, the tech death thing. So I went back and got ATF up and going.
So
I took Jared over there. And
when did that band start then? If you're going back that far, when did that?
Man.
2007, 2008?
Nails started, I remember our very first gig was November 2008.
Right, okay.
ATF was October 2008.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So, quite a long time ago.
Right.
We played, I think, our Nails last show, I think, was in 2019.
Right, that was a bit about right.
We had played in Brisbane, was our second last show, which was awesome. And then about a month later, we played the last local show that we did, and then things just kind of fell the way that they did.
Val went and did Bolt Gun as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he left before it sort of all...
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah,
so
like I said, nice dudes, like everyone. And like once I sort of stepped to the side, they got Maddie in on vocals back in the day, and that was a way better fit for them. So, they were a good band, great dudes.
So when did Iniquitous come into play then? When did that take over?
So Iniquitous came into play. So I think we did our first gig in 2018.
Right.
Actually supporting Viscera Trail. So the legend Dan Granger, he actually brought them over and asked us to play on that, and it was awesome. But we had how it happened. I originally reached out to Linton. He just to see if he had or any interest in doing a death metal project. I mean, he was obviously already in Depravity at the time, and so I wasn't trying to tread on that at all. But just with Nails kind of sitting in limbo, I was just curious if he was keen to.
Well, that's how you start. You got to reach out, right?
Do something else, yeah. And he said, actually, it's really funny you mentioned that, and he sent me what was essentially a rough draft, if you will, or demo with program drums, etc., of what was the Sledgehammered EP.
Oh.
So nothing had ever been released. He said, have a listen to this, see what you think. If you dig it, learn the tracks, and let's start jamming. So Iniquitous, as it was at that time, was something that Linton and Taryn, our vocalist, had started, only with it ever being with a view to being a recording project. It was never something that at the time they were wanting to take live. But then Linton and I got to talking, and then Taryn as well, and I absolutely loved the tracks. So I learned them, we started jamming, and then it all just like came together really well. And
so quite organically then.
Yeah, and then Linton reached out to Brad, our bass extraordinaire, and he was in straight away. And so then we were all just jamming, and then like I say, our first show was in 2018.
And for context, all the people in that band are from other pretty well-known Perth bands. Taryn was ex-Grotesque.
Yes.
Back in the day. OG Grotesque.
Right.
Gosnells represent. And
Entrails Eradicated.
Entrails Eradicated.
Oh,
Yeah,
I remember
same
them.
as Lint. Same as Lint.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, everybody knows those dudes. And
Yeah, Brad from DFC.
DFC,
and
that's
Watermonic.
Yep.
Watermonic, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, we're kind of going back in time there a little bit with all those bands. Used to be like, I used to see all these bands all the time, like doing gigs and stuff, you know. And then they sort of disappeared over time. But then I guess all the members kind of just went on to like other projects and whatever.
Other projects, but like Brendan was saying here, that like sometimes life just gets in the way. People will have kids, step away, and then people will start other projects, or you know, you tend to find the same faces joining bands left, right, and center. Like ATF at the moment as well. So you know. And it's kind of good because, you know, the longer you hang around, I tend to find you sort of up your game because you sort of level up each time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's a learning experience. You kind of like whatever you learn from then, you kind of bring on to the next thing.
The people that are really dedicated are the ones that tend to stick around doing this thing because, you know, there's no money in it, right? Like
there's no money in it. It's all love.
It's all love. It's all hard work.
That's
it's a lot of long hours and no sleeping, as we were saying before. And so. You know, and like they were like Nails of Imposition were a fantastic band.
Yeah.
When I jammed with those guys, they were easily the most technically gifted musicians I'd jam with at that time. And I've had the privilege of jamming with some really good musicians as well. But like this level, like man, I can like come to Hornography this month, watch this guy drum, watch them all play. Taryn's like the man when
Trevor
it comes
drum.
to... Yeah.
My God.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, freaking Grotesque around. Yeah. Look, man, there's fantastic... I've been saying this for ages. There's so many fantastic musicians in Australia in the metal scene, but Perth especially, because there's less opportunities here. It's a smaller scene, so we have to be... Like, we have to be better to get heard, basically. We've got to make more noise. We've got to be more dedicated. We've got to put more effort in. Because we have a fantastic scene over here that even the east coast of Australia don't know what's going on. And when we go over there, like bands from WA, we blow them away. Like, we blow them away because, you know, they're fantastic.
No, it's a good scene here in Perth, and obviously unique because of our geography and stuff like that, you know. So, I do have a question for you as far as like not just with the band, but like the drumming part of it, because. You know, as we know in Perth especially, there's obviously a lack of drummers compared to like guitar players and stuff. So what made you get into one of the hardest positions to be in a band? Why did you get into drums?
Most carrying stuff around, most expensive instruments.
Because you can just do so much easier stuff, you know, with guitars and stuff like that.
You should have done what I did, just grab a microphone and learn to do
we'll do that, you know. So what led you to drums? Why did you want to do
up
that?
the triangle, like...
Triangle in death metal, I'd love to see that. I'm sure it's been done before, but...
Man... Yeah.
By the way, if anyone out there knows a death metal band with Triangle, please tag them in the comments.
I know there's been saxophone, but Triangle is a little bit out there, I think.
I remember seeing, there's a black metal band in Perth here. They had a saxophonist for one show. What are they called? You know, that progressive black metal band? We had him on Hornography last year.
They had a saxophone?
Not at Hornography, but at previous shows.
Right.
They barely play shows anymore. Oh, I can't remember their name. The black metal band, progressive black metal band. They played on the show with us at the Wham Fest. Do you remember them?
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
At Wham Fest, that was,
Yeah, no, years ago. That's why I can't remember the name.
That was...
and they played Illyria.
Oh, right. They had a saxophone.
At one show. And I'm pretty sure Banished Realm, Lee's wife plays... Violin.
Right.
I don't know why I brought that up. I just thought interesting.
But not for the band, though.
It's a very different element to be bringing in.
Yeah,
so
it is. Yeah,
it really adds, particularly to Banished Realm, it really adds a whole nother level to their sound. Now.
Right.
Like In answer to your question, sorry, mate, about
the drumming thing.
What made me take up drums?
We do this all the time. Sorry, we like just go off and
No, I love it. It's great. What made me take up drums? Yeah. I guess I had a few moments where
I thought you said you had a few drinks and then got into it.
like as
that does happen.
So as a teenager, I remember going to the US with my parents. I was lucky enough to do that, and we were actually in this old jazz club, and it was one of my first times actually seeing.
What part of the US was this?
A live band. This was in New Orleans.
Oh wow!
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So I went to this old jazz club.
I'd love to go to New Orleans.
I remember.
Yeah, jazz definitely for sure. Yeah.
It was so cool. I remember it was one of those moments for me, and everyone. It was almost like a floor show, but it was just raised benches surrounding the entirety of the band.
Yep.
I remember sitting on this seat and watching this band. Like I say, it was one of the first times I'd actually seen a live band. And
So how old were you then?
I was 13.
13,
yeah.
okay.
So I remember just being fixated on the drums.
Yep.
And I fell in love with them then. I didn't take up anything though. But as I got older, my friends were getting into metal. And punk as well as metal, and they were kind of exposing it to me, and I just remember like almost every single track that I would listen to, like I'd listen to the whole song, but over time I would just focus on the drums, and I'd start doing stupid like amateur stuff and like air drumming. I think it might sound like this, but I remember that connection and real love for the instrument. Then, but it wasn't until I think like 20 when I actually finally bought a drum kit. It was a shitty old power beat at the time, but honestly, it was one of the best things I did because it started me on this whole
got to start somewhere.
whole journey. But I didn't really take it fully seriously until starting to talk to the Nails. What ended up being the Nails of Imposition guys.
Right.
It actually forced me to really take practice seriously.
Whoa. Because I remember back then, you were already a stellar drummer by the time Nails of Imposition started jamming. Because I was there in the early days, and I was just like, holy shit, this guy's like, we're talking like, if you haven't heard Nails of Imposition, go check them out. We're talking tech death metal here. This is not
Well, you must have been
standard
practicing a long
4/4.
before
This is
that.
not a punk beat. This is like... So you're saying your first like sort of experience in a band was Nails of Imposition?
My first serious band was Nails of Imposition. Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep.
That's amazing.
But like I say, what I was doing was kind of just like dabbling with drums. I was jamming with some guys, but it ended up being like once a fortnight, and then I'd be like, oh shit, I haven't practiced a song, so I hadn't jumped on the kit for 2 weeks, and I go, oh, I better play through the songs before they get here, because we were jamming at my house at the time, but it wasn't serious. And then Nails came along, and I was like, okay, now I really have to throw myself headlong into, practicing a lot more. And so then, it started me on that whole trajectory, and it's just a huge part of my life now.
Right. Interesting, because I'm sort of recording to the last podcast we did. We were talking about why people are drawn to certain instruments or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're sort of like, we're hearing you talk about how you were drawn to the drums when you were hearing that. And we're talking about how that sort of is part of like your personality and stuff.
It's a visceral thing, because we're talking to the two people from Dark Era here, the bassist and the singer.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing, and same with me with vocals. Like
Yeah.
I was always into the lyrics and like dudes screaming, and I was like, that's
Yeah.
cool. I want to scream, man. I want to be like that's.
We're
just
trying to
dope.
figure out like what makes someone be drawn to a particular aspect of music, and like for you, it was obviously drums. He kind of whatever it was that was.
But
thing.
the common thread was that it was a visceral feeling. It wasn't so much like I admire that instrument technically, or sometimes it was, but like you just were like drawn to it. Do you know what I mean? There's like a magnetism to it, Like, that's really cool.
Yeah, drummers, I guess
thanks.
it's a different thing because there's a lot to sort of take in and stuff. There's a lot of technical stuff, I guess. So I guess in some ways the personality must be a technical sort of person. Like you like a lot of like that kind of stuff, like a lot of like eclectic.
I think he's asking, do you like carrying lots of equipment around?
Well, that too. But you know what I mean? Like,
I love it.
I mean, you look at like your own personal taste in music. It's probably a lot of like technical stuff, I guess. Maybe
Yes. The short answer is yes.
Yeah.
But initially that wasn't the case for me.
Right.
So my love for extreme metal, and obviously there's a technical element that comes with that. That wasn't there immediately for me. In fact, the first time I heard blast beats when my friends were listening to black metal, I was like, oh, it sounds the same. I don't understand. Oh, it's all too much for me. And but then over time, eventually I just totally clicked with it, and I was like, oh, now I get it.
So what were the initial heavy bands you were listening to? Because I tend to find that, like, you're right. When you first get into heavier music, it's most people, I'm not saying all people, but most people don't dive in the deep end with the tech death, the black metal.
It's always
they
like,
start with your
that's right.
start with your big bands, your
stuff,
Metallicas, your Panteras, your Slayers,
Yep.
or in my case, your Slipknots and Mudvayne,
Yeah, man.
and stuff.
Awesome.
And then, like you said,
then you go from
then
there.
you get hooked, and you can't get enough of it. And you need your next fix, and you got to freaking.
It's a common story. I mean, I had the same thing as well. You know, I was a hard rock guy as a kid, and then I kind of got into metal eventually.
Same. The guitars is what I was like. First, it was guitars. Like, oh, I love that guitar sound, and you know.
So yeah,
what were you?
So my first bands that I got exposure to was Offspring initially.
Oh yeah, same. Yeah.
And I actually, they were one of my favorite bands at one point. Yeah. Absolutely loved them. This is before I started getting into like heavier stuff. Metallica, obviously, gateway for me. To this day, though, Master of Puppets, that album I think is ahead of its time, and I revisit that fairly regularly. Amazing album. Then I started getting into more the new metal side of things, Korn in particular.
Yep.
Then Fear Factory at probably around about the same time. And then it, when it really started to turn into more extreme stuff, I remember when I was first exposed to Cradle of Filth's Cruelty and the Beast, and I was like, fuck, like, this is amazing. And then Dimmu Borgir, and that was it for me. I was like, this is what I want to keep exploring. And I just kept like, I couldn't get enough. I wanted to consume like more and more and more extreme stuff. Like, what's next? Like, and it kind of just went that way for me, and it's been that way ever since. And I remember, it's funny. I remember my parents once saying to me, "Oh, this is just a phase." This is in my I don't know, probably like late teens, early 20s. This is just a phase for you, and lo and behold, all those years later to this point, and it's still what I love. It's still what I listen to, and my parents have been hugely supportive, and they've even come along to shows.
That's awesome.
And they've wanted to know like what I'm
What
doing,
do they
what I'm
think?
listening
What
to.
do they think of the actual music?
What do they think of the actual music? Well, look, it's not really. It's not really their thing. I mean,
you ever been to the show where you've seen the parents in the crowd and they didn't bring earplugs and they're standing there with their hands? I'm serious, man. It's hilarious. You can see it from a mile away on the stage, like somebody's parents.
But that's exactly what it is, though. It's like you push them straight into that because they have no context at all. They're going straight deep dive, So you can understand why they would react that way,
It's funny. I remember, so I was in my early 20s, and I was cleaning up my room. I was still living at home at the time, and I was listening to Orchid by Opeth.
Okay, yeah.
And my dad came in, and I had a lounge in my room, and I didn't know he'd come into my room. I was just cleaning up, and he sat down, and I turned around, and I was like, "Oh, Dad, sorry." And I went to turn the stereo down. He said, "No, leave it on. Like, I want to listen to what you're listening to." And I think that was probably a bit of a turning point for him. And then, like I say, fast forward, and I started playing shows, and my dad would come along, and he's having a beer with like Matt's dad, and they're out the back, and
Well, that's good on them for getting on board, though. Not everybody's parents do.
No, I mean they're in mum and dad are in their 80s now, but they ask me like every week, like, "You got any shows coming up?"
That's
like,
awesome.
How was your last one? Like, so they're genuinely interested,
That's cool.
and they know that it's it's just a part of me. Now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That's what I find with a lot of people who get into metal. It doesn't just, like, you know, with a lot of other genres, and I'm not slagging off other music genres here. What I'm saying is there's a lot of other genres. People go to your big festivals and they watch whatever pop star or Kendrick Lamar or Beyonce or whatever. And, like, I'm not saying they're big fans, but they go back into the real world and they work their jobs, and then, like, it's just sort of something they listen to.
It's an event for them.
Whereas
it's casual versus a lifestyle.
Metalheads,
exactly.
Like you said, it becomes part of you, becomes a big part of your life. Yeah. It's like you've joined a club. Like, literally, you've joined a club and you were part of something now. And, like, every gig you go to, the black shirts, the look, the tattoo, whatever, you know, just the culture. It is a culture. Like,
definitely. Yeah,
it's fantastic, man. How good is metal?
But it's also one of the best cultures. I mean, I know people that have kind of stepped into the scene relatively newly, and they have their first experience of the scene is. People are actually so nice.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
People are actually so warm and welcoming. It's like, that is absolutely 100% what it is. Those outside of the scene have this, I guess, wrong stereotypical idea of, it's all dangerous. And
Satan worshippers.
Yes.
The stereotype that's been kind of lingering around since the 80s, you know, so...
Couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah. For the most part, don't get me wrong, there's dickheads in every subculture
of course,
and scene.
It doesn't represent the metal scene.
No, it does
all,
not.
You
like,
know, so.
you know, every time you hear some, like, you know, back in the 90s, you're talking Columbine, they're like, oh, they were into metal and they went and shot up their schools. Like, no, they shot up their school, but they just happened to listen to Marilyn Manson.
There was, I was going to say Marilyn Manson.
It wasn't, and, you know, and the same with, like, who was that guy that, he said Satan made him do it, the Killer, that band wrote a song about it.
Well, there was a bunch of them in the 80s. Like Judas Priest and Ozzy Osbourne all got a lot of flack for their lyrics and stuff. And in fact, to this day, there's now all these like labels about like the warning of lyrical content because of that in the 80s, you know?
Yeah,
because of that
online. There's documentaries about it was the PRC or whatever, the parents something
Dee
or
Snider.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had court hearings.
Dee Snider from Twisted Sister.
I was about to say that. Yes. Yep. Yeah.
They were getting them in. What were they called? The Dirty Dozen or whatever bands with Black Sabbath and Judas Priest, etc., etc. And I was trying to like blame them for all the ills of society and
because of a stereotype.
But it's so funny.
Panic as well.
Yeah. But how many other people committed horrendous crimes that would have listened to? I know. Even in years gone by, the equivalent of pop, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you listen to pop music, so therefore, like, you're going to go out and do these heinous crimes. That's what made you do that.
Yeah.
No. Like, it's just that. Yeah. Metal is different, and therefore metal can be a scapegoat.
Exactly.
When it's untrue.
Because you can recognize a metalhead walking down the street just by looking at him. You know, you just see a band shirt, you see a certain look, you're like, that dude's into some heavy stuff, like heavy metal. And it's like the bat signal to us. It's like, I'm going to talk to
There's
that
all
guy.
these memes online about that, like two people in a shop and they see each other, you know?
Like you're in the Slayer shirt.
Exactly.
Or the exact opposite. Two metalheads see each other in a shop, and because we're all socially awkward motherfuckers, they just sort of look at each other and go, you know? But like, genuinely,
another one.
What we want to do is be like, brother, but instead we're like, nice shirt.
I don't know, it depends.
You know?
Some are extroverts and some are introverts. It depends on, you know,
But again,
the
that's
person.
just society in general. But no, you're right. Like, because we're easily identifiable.
That's probably what it is, partly because of the fact that we stand out so much
People
among
are
the
scared
crowd,
of what they don't know, right? Like, you know, they don't know. If you don't come to a metal gig, you don't get it. You don't understand.
I got it for a long time now, like especially in the workplaces and stuff. Like I usually stand out because most people were not metalheads, so I'd stand out with the long hair and the beard and the tattoos, whatever. But then I tell them, but when I'm hanging out at a metal show, I just get lost in the mix because everyone else looks like that. You know what I mean? So it's not really.
I can't relate, Andrew. I've never stood out in my life. I'm kidding. I'm absolutely kidding. Everywhere I go, the people are looking at me, and like. But you're right though. You go to a metal gig, and sometimes I forget because I go to so many gigs. A lot of my friends are into metal, that you're around metalheads all the time, you forget that the majority of society is not in on the joke. They're not in the scene.
Yeah.
So when you hang out with people and you try to have conversations about the sort of stuff we talk about, people are looking at you like, the fuck is that guy talking about? Like,
Yeah.
because I'm like fully like, yeah, Sepultura from Brazil, man, it's really good. You know, like, and they're like, the fuck is he talking about?
What the hell is a
You know?
Sepultura?
Yeah, what the hell is a Sepultura? I'm like, oh yeah, man, you know, fucking, you know, whatever, you know.
Sepultura was another gateway band for me.
Oh, like for everyone,
Love 'em.
man. Fantastic.
Love 'em.
So
Yep.
good. Igor Cavalera on the drums. Oh,
Yeah, well,
Yes.
that's another thing I want to ask you, actually. Drummers, like, who
Yes.
was the sort of pinnacle drummer for you growing up? Like, that sort of also helped you get into
and who
the...
are you into now? Who are the new ones?
yeah.
From?
Oh wow. Look, so early for me, would be Igor, definitely one of them. Early Lars.
Mm?
Um,
What about Raymond Herrera from Fear
I was
Factory?
about to say Raymond.
But Gene Oglin.
Yeah. We had this discussion before you got on.
Outstanding.
Yep.
Thomas from Meshuggah.
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah.
Thomas Hake, yeah.
Gene, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that guy.
The Atomic Clock.
Well, the stuff that he did in Death is really like some of his best stuff.
Name
Yeah.
a band where he's done bad work in.
He was in
Yeah.
Testament. He was in
Testament. Dark Angel.
Dark Angel. Yeah, he's been in 1,000 bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His work in Strapping.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Strapping Young. Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Fuck,
yeah.
yeah.
City,
Oh,
man. City.
Yeah, my God,
Yeah.
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 I listened
Like-
to City the other day. Such a great
I-
album.
Great album.
The first time I heard Strappers was City.
Yeah,
I
same.
was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Absolutely blew my mind.
It's like that dude is pissed off.
Nick Barker.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
From Cradle
When he
and
was in
also
Cradle, yep.
Dimmu fame.
Yep.
Oh my God, there's so many for me. Probably in terms of so I still love all of them.
Yep.
In terms of drummers that I discovered, in more recent years, Lil Gruber from Defeated Sanity.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Absolutely one of my faves ever. Like he is just an incredible drummer. Anyone who has not heard Defeated Sanity, please do yourself
I've heard
a
this. So
favour.
they're kind of like a deathcore, I guess you could say. Or...
No, mate, they're brutal death, but they've got a lot of different elements come into it. They, even jazz they actually bring into their stuff. Probably unlike any kind of death metal band I've ever heard.
Right.
They are incredible. He is not necessarily the fastest of drummers, but he just his playing, his technical ability, his really tasty feels and just his touch. He is so good, so good. Highly recommend Defeated Sanity. Yeah, check him out.
Cool.
Who else? Nils from he played for Dark Funeral. He's played for many bands. Sanctification. He is pretty much an absolute gun, but a consummate professional as well. And he's super fast. He is amazing. Like his ability to play super fast whilst being really clean and play super hard. Incredible drummer.
Awesome.
There's so many others, and I could bang on and on, but I won't.
You know what? While he was talking about that, I just remembered a bunch of things. I want you to talk about your experiences this year playing some of the big gigs you've played, because I've been there
sure.
with you, like say Froth and Fury Festival.
Oh,
We
man.
helped each other
Yes, brother.
backstage.
Yep.
That was so much fun. Like
It was so good.
just seeing all your mates there, like where do we go? Like where's the like every drummer helped each other. Everybody, like we were all helping each other load on and off. But talk about like some of the big gigs that you've done with Iniquitous and like coming up like from this year and like whatever big gigs you've done before.
Sure.
And then what you got coming up for the rest of the year and such.
So, Froth and Fury Fest was an incredible experience. So grateful that we were able to play the inaugural festival in Perth. Just the whole big outdoor festival experience. And I remember having a moment on stage because we played about 3 p.m. You'll appreciate this, mate. The sun was getting quite low.
I didn't notice that.
and it was pretty hot on stage. But I remember just having this moment where it's like the sun was out there. The people, thank you so much, who came to watch us, we're seemingly, having a great time. And then like the breeze came in, and you always see those festivals, right? Those big European festivals or whatever, and it's like the mutos are like, hi, and like the wind in the hair, like when it's an open air event. And I just had that moment. It's like, fuck, what am I doing here? Like, this is fucking amazing. Like,
Totally, man.
So good. And then, we played Perth Dethfest. That was absolutely sick.
Jammers, as my partner would say.
Absolutely packed. I think there were about 400 tickets sold for that, and that was just...
it felt like there was more. Like, you couldn't walk anywhere where there wasn't, dozens of people.
So we played in the at the 459 stage.
Yeah.
And I got to say, like, that was an incredible gig for us. I remember just the energy in the room. And this is probably a product of just how packed it was. The energy in the room was incredible. And I remember saying to the guys afterwards, like, that actually felt like a floor show. You know, where you have everyone in really close proximity and they're almost standing around the band.
Yep.
That was the feeling. And I absolutely loved it. And so that was cool.
That's another thing that people who don't attend metal events don't understand is that it's not something you just got to see and hear live. You need to feel it. The energy, the visceral, it's that X factor. You cannot explain it until you're there. I have friends that are not into metal. They like hip hop or whatever. Yeah. And they come to watch us play metal gigs, and they prefer going to metal gigs than gigs of their own genres because they're like their energy. He goes, there's something about it. He goes, it's just a better show. He goes, I don't even like metal. Like, it's a better show. I'm not speaking for all people, obviously, but check it out. Like, it's that energy. I agree with you. And especially sometimes when you get those packed rooms and you're on the floor, it's just you, it's you and the people. And that's the thing. The show with metal is not just the band putting on a show. It is that. It's part of it, but it's the crowd connection, the energy going out and coming back.
It's very much a feedback loop.
Yes.
And you genuinely do feel it. So,
exactly.
And just some of the international supports that we've done over the years. Again, they've been amazing opportunities. We've been hugely grateful to do that.
Name drop a couple of them.
Like Archspire and Ingested. That was an incredible show. Godlax and Massacre.
That was a great show, by the way.
Some of the supports we've done, and and we always love that. We really relish those opportunities, and any band that comes to Perth, and you get to support them, be it either playing with them or going to see them. We love it.
Cool. And your next show coming up, June 27th, Hornography, Confession, Surrender to the Night, with obviously Iniquitous Monolith, Lamentia, Secular, and Thundrin. I'm sorry that I'm not pronouncing this correct. Something like that, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out a bit later.
Can Joel please comment in, send us a voice recording of how you pronounce your band name?
We've had some trouble with some
We can read the logo, we just can't pronounce it.
We've had some trouble with some other, like Guerrilla, that's playing on July 7th as well.
Oh,
I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. I think it's right, but...
They're Portuguese. Hey, by the way, just before we go, what does Iniquitous Monolith mean?
Great question. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
So basically what it translates to is iniquitous. Iniquitous basically means wicked.
Yep.
And monolith is essentially a monument. So it basically means a monument to wickedness.
And
underneath that is where kind of all the horror kind of references come into the aesthetic, all the samples that we have going in and out.
It's all that. How you guys all like sort of horror movies and like Rob Zombie style music and White Zombie and that. So those, like if you've never seen them before, think Tech Death but with some groove, and then there's like horror samples in there, which is just like it's Tech Death you can really enjoy without being a fan of Tech Death metal, if you get me, because there is groove. And it brings a smile to my face because you hear those like samples, you're like, that's cool. And like genuinely come to Hornography, check this shit out.
Yes. So June 27th at the Milk Bar. So it should be a great night. Beyond that, is there anything else you got planned at all?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we we'll have a couple of months between 27th of June and our next show, so which will be Dark Down South, 20th and 21st of November. I believe we're playing on the 20th, which is the Friday night. We're in talks with another band potentially about doing another show that'll sit somewhere in between June and November.
Awesome.
Outside of that, we've just got a bunch of new material that we're just working on at the moment. It's pretty much a whole nother album's worth of stuff that we've got. So we're just taking opportunities where we can.
Are you looking to release soon, or like are you just sort of?
Man, we would love to. I don't know if we will get to learn all the material. To a point where it's ready to record, and then get it released this year.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't think this year, but yeah. I know the drill. Yeah.
We will aim to.
Yeah, I know the drill. It's like it takes forever, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Anything else you want to mention before we go?
Look, just thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate the regularity of Hornography. I think you guys are doing a fantastic thing. I think you just help keep the scene really strong. And it's always really dynamic, the shows that you put on as well, so that people get exposed to like a whole range of different bands, veterans and even up and coming bands. So look, kudos to you. And just thanks to anyone who has supported Iniquitous in any way. We wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you. So thank you.
Beautiful words. Cool. Thank you very much for your coming in. I just want to thank Brendan Nock for coming in. A lot of people would know we go way back. Like
we do.
We met at like gigs just back in the day randomly before either of us were in bands. And he's always just been an absolute gentleman. You were dating someone I knew. Amy, was it? So anyways, it was some person I knew back in the day. He was dating her. She introduced me to him, and I haven't seen her since, but we've stayed in touch. We've been friends because that's what the metal community does. We just had stuff in common. He's one of the best drummers in Perth, one of the best drummers probably in Australia, and he's one of the nicest people in the scene. And I highly suggest you come out. Check out Nails of Imposition. Check out Iniquitous Monolith because they're great. If you get into that stuff, this is your jam. Like, this is number one, your jam. So get into it. Come on out, support the metal scene. You can meet great people like Brendan. Thank you so much for coming in, and thanks for being an awesome dude.
Yeah, thanks for doing the show.
Man.
So we'll see you in June.
Thanks, mate.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Peace.